not just to convince them that they are responsible for increasing anti-Semitism, but that they really complicate unnecessarily and endanger unnecessarily the relationship between the West and the Arab world and the Muslim world. And this is a role, a negative role that they will play, and the world will probably not forgive them for playing.
Now, in the preface to Volume 2 of my book, there's an explicit message from me to the media and publishing executives and politicians. I say to them, you are dangerously wrong to believe that by being complicit in Zionism's suppression of the truth, you are serving the Jewish interest better than your own. What I say to them is, by not coming to grips with the truth of history, and in particular what we've discussed, the difference between Judaism and Zionism, you are helping to set up all Jews to be blamed. Now that's a very serious charge for me to make. Do you think there's substance to it?
There is substance to it. As there is substance to saying that the policies, I think it stems from the fact that the policies of Israel are a very important factor in the re-emergence of anti-Semitism, or the new anti-Semitism, as it is called, or the old anti-Semitism reincarnated. And therefore, any one or any important body that allows these policies to continue, doesn't criticize them, or even endorses them, is culpable of creating that kind of reality we're talking about.
Right. Now the one state, Ilan. It's, of course, one thing to talk about the need for one state, and even to make the case convincingly for it, as being the only real hope for justice and lasting peace. But how can it come about when nuclear-armed gut Zionists in Greater Israel and their awesomely powerful lobby in America are absolutely opposed to it?
Well, I think it doesn't start with a one-state solution. It starts with the fact that if we will say to ourselves as peace activists, or moral conscientious persons, that because of the Israeli nuclear power and the unlimited support Israel gets from the United States, we can do nothing. It means that the scenarios we were talking about, of the destruction of Palestine, would be implemented. So it's not important whether the Israelis and the Americans reject the one-state solution. The important thing is that unopposed, the destruction of Palestine will become a reality. And it's a big question whether the civil society in the West, the civil society around the world, concerned governments, conscientious Israelis, and the resistance movement of the Palestinians can face this coalition and create a different reality of reconciliation and peace for everyone who lives there, instead of this scenario where one group of people excludes and exterminates, in a way, the other group of people. And therefore, it's not just a one-state solution that is at stake here. It's the future of the Palestinians as people, as human beings, is at stake.
But it's also the future of the Jews who live in the region.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I agree.
Iran's president has been quoted as saying he wants to wipe Israel off the map. He said nothing like that. I think we both know that. Both know what he actually said. But the point is, yes, a one-state solution means the end of Zionism. It means the de-Zionization of Palestine.
Absolutely.
But it does not harm the Jews who currently live there. All those who want to stay become citizens with complete, full, equal rights with the Palestinians. I mean, if enough Jews of the world understood this concept, do you think it could gain traction?
Yes, and I think this is the core of the issue of the one state. The core of the issue of the one state, that it would replace a racist state. It will replace an apartheid state with a shared democracy, with a state for all its citizens. This is the idea. But I would add something else. It will replace a Zionist state. It will create a state which will be far more Jewish than the Zionist state, because the Zionist state is not a Jewish state. Everything that the Zionist state was doing abuses
all the
very
values
principles and
yes.
values of Judaism.
Yeah.
Therefore, this is a very important issue.
I have written, and often say on public platforms, that I believe the Jews, generally speaking, are the intellectual elite of the Western civilization, and that, generally speaking, the Palestinians are the intellectual elite of the Arab world. It follows, or so it seems to me, that what these two peoples could do together in peace and partnership is the stuff that real dreams are made of. they could change the region for the better, and by doing that give new hope and inspiration to the whole world. Am I only dreaming?
No, I think you're absolutely right. I don't know if they are the intellectual elites or not, but definitely a synergic power of these two people could have created in the land of Palestine wonderful things. What you are also, I think, implying is how close they are and how similar they are. And this similarity is something that could easily fortify the idea of a one-state solution, I think, that I'm believing in. And I do think that if you salvage the whole issue from the political elites in Israel, in America, and in the West, and you allow the basic human energy to flow.
The ordinary decency of people.
Yeah, exactly. I think you will see that this is a soluble problem and not one that has to endanger the stability of the world at large.
In my book, I say to readers that there were times in the writing of it when I wanted to cry out with the pain of knowing how much Israel's leaders have deceived the Jews of Israel and the Jews of the world. Now, if this Gentile can truly feel that pain, and he does, how much worse is it for you, an Israeli Jew?
It's worse because I was deceived from the very moment I was part of the educational system. It's the deceivers here are not just the politicians. I never believed in politicians anyway from the age of 12. But I think what really important is that your moral supervisors, your teachers, your family, your parents, anyone who was a moral role model was actually selling a fabricated version of the reality and was lying to you. And that's very painful. And struggling against it is definitely not an easy process.
To my knowledge, no Jew, Israeli or other, has ever spoken publicly in such a profound way as Ilan Pappe did in that conversation. He said that Israel's policies are a very important factor in the re-emergence of anti-Semitism, and that anyone or any important body that allows these policies to continue or doesn't criticize them or endorses them is culpable of activating the rise of anti-Semitism. He said the Jews of the world, and America in particular, can play a very significant and crucial role in changing the reality on the ground, and that they must speak out about the crimes of the Zionist state in order to protect themselves. The present policies of Israel and America and support for them are going to end in catastrophe, for which the Jews of America will be blamed and anti-Semitism will rise again. On the same subject, he also said, if things go wrong, and they will go wrong for America if present policies continue, the scapegoat will be the Jewish community in America, rightly or wrongly. He believed, he added, that American Jews should oppose Israel's policies on moral grounds, but that from their own survival point of view, they should be much more critical about what Israel is doing to the Palestinians. That's all for this week. From this heart to yours, good night.